Hey everyone, Steve here from My Crypto World. Trust you're having a great day. Today we're going to have a look at market sentiment. We'll see where things have been for the last couple of days since our last video post. We're also going to have a look at a couple of stories, one involving Theta, one involving Digibyte. We're also going to have a look at what the Australian government is doing down under when it comes to cryptocurrency. We've also found a very interesting and amusing website regarding Bitcoin and market sentiment. So stay tuned, we'll see it all right after this. Okay, so let's have a look at our heat map and see where things are at. So today, compared to 2 days ago, it's a pretty good day. A lot of coins are up. In fact, most of the market's up. A few exceptions there, Dogecoin, USDT, USDC, and a few of the smaller ones are down. But overall, the market's looking fairly healthy. Ethereum up just over that $4,000 mark again. Bitcoin back up to nearly 48,000. Solana's up a nice 6%, which is great. Luna is up 13%. Chainlink is up as well. So not too bad. Having a quick look at the charts to see where things are at for the last 7 days and 24 hours. We can see here that Solana is for the last 7 days is still up 10%. Not too bad actually, considering the push down that markets had over the last few weeks. Avalanche still up 37%. What else we got here? So my mouse is moving too quickly. Let's do another thing here. XRP up 1.8%. Polygon up 10.93%. That's nice for Polygon holders. Uniswap up 2%. Chainlink up nearly 4%. So, look, overall things aren't looking too bad at the moment. Now when we go and have a look at our charts, to see where the market is in relation to the current cycle that's in place. Now, I'm a little bit unsure where this cycle is going to end. From my calculations that I've done, the current cycle finishes tomorrow on the 20th of December. Now, normally when a cycle completes, it's usually at its low. So at the moment, we're obviously up a bit, but I would not be surprised if this is truly the end of the cycle and my timing is correct. Then tomorrow we may see a downward movement. So that'll be tomorrow or Monday, the 20th of December. And the reason I say that is when you go and have a look at how everything's moved in previous cycles, you can see that while the market rose up, it always came back down and finished on its low, and always within the time frame. So always anywhere between probably 27 and 33 days. As you know, the average is a 31-day cycle, but usually at the end of it, even through this small bull run we had here, you can see the end of the cycle always coincided with a down period, a down day, all throughout all of this here as we went up as well. So even in the bull market phases, even when the market is quite strong, it'll always come back and finish its cycle on a downward movement. Now, it doesn't look like it's going to do that, but if it does, tomorrow expect it to be a down day if the cycle's right. Now, the other thing that may have happened is the cycle may have been pushed out, and this may be the start of the new cycle here at this low. The only thing we can do is know that time will tell. This sort of stuff is easier to see in hindsight, retrospectively. And I mentioned a couple of videos ago that while we're looking at, and what I use mainly is a 31-day cycle, there are larger cycles that can impede or change the timing of the smaller cycles. So if there's a larger cycle coming into play, maybe a 26-week cycle or a 52-week cycle, that can shorten or lengthen a lot of the smaller cycles before they kick off again. So it's very possible we've seen a cycle end here, a larger one that we don't have on the screen, and this here is the start of a brand new cycle. But again, as I said, time will tell. If it does drop tomorrow it certainly won't go below, I don't believe, 1.86 trillion. Probably won't even go anywhere near it. But it may drop slightly past this previous low, which was, where is it here? 2.16 trillion. So we'll just have to see how that plays out over the next 24 hours. For those that are following me on Twitter, I posted this week this article called "The Kingdom of the Metaverse and 50x Metaverse Gem" by a guy called Frederick Irwin. Essentially, what the article goes on to talk about is gives you a bit of history first of all. So it talks about really the brief history of metaverses. Now, I still have people a little bit confused over what the metaverse is. The easiest way I can describe it to you is it's a very much a glorified version of what we as kids grew up playing on PCs and Macs. So for those that are around about my age, you would probably remember playing basic games like Commander King, or maybe some of the first born player videos, so Doom, Quake, all those sort of things. We didn't know it then, but that really was the start of the metaverse, where you're immersing yourself into a character and you're playing that character in a game for, sometimes up to 6 months or longer, however long it took you to sort of complete the mission and get to the very end, to the boss level, they called it. Games like Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, again, kind of metaversey, where you're adopting the character, you're choosing your skins, you're choosing your outfits and possibly your weapons, and then you're going into battle and you're playing that character through. Well, the metaverse is exactly the same as that, but a lot more. So the metaverse is very dynamic. It's basically an entire world. The most probably recent one is Fortnite, that is probably the most popular one, although it's not exactly a metaverse by definition. So metaverses by definition have a lot more intrinsic value inside the metaverse. You can get paid in Tfuel to play in that. You can adopt skins, you can buy NFTs, you can attend concerts. There's a whole host of other things that is happening inside the metaverse and that's being built at the moment. But if you can remember back to those days of good old Doom and Quake, that really was at that point in time, cutting edge technology, but it's now developed into this amazing and unique platform that people can work with and play in. Now, even people like Bill Gates have recently stated that he believes that most corporate meetings will be done in the metaverse within the next 5 to 10 years. Now, that doesn't mean if you've got an office in Melbourne, Australia, you don't go into your office to go to work. You certainly do. But if you've got a team that's also in other states or other countries, you could dial in virtually and you'll all sit around a virtual table and you would actually discuss business topics in your meetings. So kind of similar to what Zoom is doing at the moment, but a much more defined and more graphical layout and representation of everyone's individuality. So that's the way that's sort of going. And when it's trying to describe, that's very difficult. If you're a Star Wars fan, which I am, as you can see by the Boba Fett head behind me, similar to when the Jedi Council are meeting and Yoda's actually not there, he's a hologram, or Obi-Wan Kenobi, same type of thing. So the metaverse is really going to also do a lot of that corporate work. Look, essentially that's what the first part of the article talks about, is what is the metaverse and how it's going to develop. And it's certainly going to be a lot bigger than what I've just described to you there. What I've probably given you is a very basic snapshot. But where the article ends up going is the metaverse is the next place of expansion for Theta, and it's vice versa as well. So it's really talking about the Theta technology, and I've mentioned this, I'm a massive Theta fan. I really think they're poised for absolute greatness in this field, in their field. They're certainly leading the field as far as what I can tell. That's not to say there won't be somebody else that will come out and develop something else, but as far as their technology goes and as far as how far their project is at the moment, Theta will absolutely power the metaverse moving forward. There is zero doubt of that in my mind, or into other people's minds. So this article just talks about that Theta has developed several key technologies, such as rendering VR worlds in real time for VR-based metaverse, VR being virtual reality. The API that really allows developers to integrate video into their own metaverses, decentralized video distribution to relay in metaverse video between users, and video-based NFTs that can capture meaningful moments in metaverses. So really what it's saying here is Theta is probably one of the only, if not the only, platform that's going to enable people to play inside a metaverse. You could actually go in and with an NFT, with a certain token, go into a concert that might be playing in the metaverse, and that might be, it could be Katy Perry, it could be Metallica, it might be any band you like, but you would pay certain things either in Tfuel, or you would have a specific NFT that you would have gained through playing the game to go into the virtual world and watch something unique. So there's lots of things like that. Whoops, too fast there. So what I'm trying to highlight here is that it's just the world is slowly waking up to Theta and what it's able to do and what it's going to be doing moving forward, especially in the play peer-to-peer distribution event. It talks about Tfuel as well, and it talks about here you just show up for the party, you share your bandwidth, which is, I've explained that in the past as well, how I'm running a Guardian node, and actually often you'll hear my CPU fan in the background. It's quite noisy. That's because at this point in time it is using the Theta Edge node to do computer calculations and computations for the Theta network. So that's actually running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Occasionally it doesn't have a job to do and the fan's quieter. I've tried to muffle it a little bit actually. I've thrown some towels over it because I'm just so sick and tired of the noise, and I know people who are watching the video can also hear it. But there's not much I can do at the moment. I will be looking at different fans in the next couple of weeks anyway to try and minimize the noise that's happening there. So what you do is you share your bandwidth for video computation, which is what I just said actually, and then you might get, you know, you can do all of that sort of stuff. And if you're in the metaverse at the time, you can actually go to the club, talk to people, and you might end up with NFTs and things like that. So that's really, really good. Let's have a look here. I don't want to go through the whole article because it's quite a long one. It ends it off saying, really, if you're in doubt, just think about this. And essentially what it's saying is if you go and use anything like YouTube or Netflix or Amazon Prime, it's those companies that actually get paid for that service that they're giving you of watching a movie or a Netflix or something like that. But when it comes to Theta, the way the Theta network is developed is that you'll actually get paid, possibly in Tfuel or some other cryptocurrency, who knows, to actually immerse yourself into that universe, because Theta will be making money off advertising. And instead of keeping all that money for themselves, they're passing that on to the people who are going to be playing the games and those who are hosting the bandwidth as well. I've spoken about in my previous videos how I actually earn Tfuel for being part of a Theta node. We'll just go and have a look at that actually. So here's the network stats on Theta. You can just go to thetatoken.org, and my computer is one of many in Melbourne. Here we got 59 in Melbourne. There are 59 people in Melbourne running an edge node for the Theta network. You can zoom out on this if you just go to the Theta website, and you can see how many edge nodes are running around the world. So we're all connected, and we're all helping distribute the bandwidth and the articles, whether it be video, music, the metaverse, making sure that people can use that from the comfort of their own home. And this is what decentralization is all about. So as when you've got Netflix and YouTube, you know, there are towers in the city full of nothing but processors and CPUs and all that sort of stuff. It's centralized. If the building was to fall down or something was to happen, that could potentially wipe out all of that. Whereas if my computer blew up tomorrow, it would not make a dent in the Theta network. The whole network would be still running because it's powered by everyone around the globe. You can see here we've got 130,529 edge nodes running throughout the world. We've got 3,432 Guardian nodes, and we've got Enterprise Validator nodes 16 at the moment. If you want to know who the Enterprise Validator nodes are, just keep scrolling down, and you can see here that we've got Google on board, you've got Sony, you've got Samsung, CAA, which is a casting agency in the States, blockchain. You've got a whole host of other things, other people on here as well, that really are looking at Theta as the next avenue for distribution of movie rights and a whole host of other things. Now there is a new Theta ecosystem being dropped in 2022. There's 44 days left before that launches. I'll do another video later explaining about that, but that's going to be announcing their T-Drop token, which is, again, is a little bit different. So they'll have Theta, as their main token, Tfuel as a token, and T-Drop as another token. But a video later will come on with that. I'll do a video on that. Now for some other news, so again, just great news. For those that want to see the article, I'll try to remember to put the link in the description below. It's something I often forget to do. Otherwise, follow me on Twitter, or just go and have a look at Twitter. And what is the last post I put up, I think yesterday. So you can go and check that out. Finally, look, Digibyte has been a very slow mover over the last 18 months. I know I've got quite a few investors that are asking me what on earth is going on with this cryptocurrency and with this company, because there doesn't seem to be much happening, and you're right. I've mentioned it several times. Digibyte is not a sexy coin at all, but what it does do is very much needed. So Metaverse has extended its business scope and achieved a partnership agreement with Digicorp Labs. Sorry, I should be highlighting this so you can read it with me. To help us foster a digital world for an influencer-centric ecosystem. Digicorp will help us to facilitate an environment that allows influencers, businesses, and influencer audiences to interact in the metaverse securely by maintaining overall privacy. So I've spoken about how Digicorp and Digibyte really want to bring the security to the blockchain networks, and that's really what they're all about. So this is just a fantastic story. Again, I'll try and link this in the description below if I do remember. Often I record these and I'll go away and do some other stuff and come back hours later, and I forget to do things like that. But you can find this article on medium.com, which is a really good spot to, if you're just digging around and you want some up-to-date information about certain coins, it's not a bad website to look at. So that's really positive news. Finally, we want to have a look at what's happening in Australia regarding Bitcoin and what things are happening here. And that's our treasurer having a chat there to somebody. I'll get rid of that, sorry. I'll just make myself a bit smaller. So what they're talking about here is that Australia essentially is about to see a big change in how it handles cryptocurrency as IMF calls for an overhaul. I'll tell you what, Australia is probably leading one of the leading countries when it comes to this sort of stuff. We're very proactive when it comes to adopting cryptocurrency. Probably about 5 or 6 weeks ago, I did a post saying that the big banks in Australia are now looking at developing a payment system and payment gateways and accepting cryptocurrency into their banks, which is very positive news. So again, this is just a story relating to that as well. Now, when you scroll down to the bottom of the article, really what it's saying, he's the Treasurer, Josh Frydenberg, is slated to announce a series of regulatory and tax proposals covering digital assets and wallets in the coming weeks. This move reportedly includes the introduction of a central bank digital currency, which the Treasurer says will put Australia at the cutting edge of the global fintech economy. So that's really exciting. Now, a lot of people want decentralisation, they want freedom and all that sort of stuff, but if we don't have some type of regularity, people are just going to get ripped off. There is already probably thousands of coins that have really a flash in the pan. They're there 1 minute, they get a lot of money and a lot of investors in, and they disappear the next. So it does have to come, there is got to be some scrutiny out there, otherwise people will end up losing more money than they will making more money, because there's, when people are desperate for money, they'll spin any story to get any sucker in. So this is actually a very positive news for Australia, and it goes again on top of the news that our big banks were looking to adopt to cryptocurrency payments in some way, shape or form. We don't know what that exactly looks like yet. That'll be announced in, I believe, Q1 of 2022. So I've got no doubt the banks will be working around that. Now finally, I mentioned at the start of this video a very funny website, well I think it's funny anyway, that you can have a look at. So it's just called 99bitcoins.com, and you can find on here the Bitcoin obituaries, and you can see what qualifies as an obituary. So we'll just have a look at that so we understand what the terms are. As a prime source for Bitcoin obituaries, we are following the guidelines in order to qualify an obituary. The content itself, not just the headline, must be explicit about the fact that Bitcoin is or will be worthless. Oh my lord. The content was produced by a person with a notable following or a site with substantial traffic. Now at the moment they're only doing these obituaries in English, but I laugh every time I read that definition. So what you can do here is you can actually, well, what am I on here? 3 months. We're on a 3-month chart. Let's go down to let's just have a look at the last 3 months. So gives you the date the article was written. So Bitcoin could become worthless. This was from The Guardian on the 14th of December 2021. Up here we had another one saying Bitcoin is nothing but a Ponzi scheme. That was the 29th of November. At its all-time high, the Bitcoin delusion. So you can actually just click on these. Now why it's funny is because I know for some investors who got into the market right up the top here, they're probably reading this and thinking, oh my God, I've made the biggest mistake of my life. Let's just go back 6 months. In fact, let's go back to a year. That's probably easier. Every single time there's an obituary, a bad news story, people panic. And I'm highlighting this to you because you can see that regardless of what stories are printed, Bitcoin is still around. And it will still continue to be around. It is far too big and powerful now for everyone just to ignore it. Here we go here. This year, Bitcoin will never be considered a currency. And that's funny because it is a currency in one country at the moment. I think it was, it wasn't. Was it El Salvador? I can't remember where it was. Doesn't matter. But it is somewhere in South America. Bitcoin will death spiral. The fundamental value of Bitcoin is zero. They even said that when Bitcoin was $44,000. It just goes on and on. But basically what you can do here is you can just have a bit of a laugh because all the way here, all the way from 2012, why Bitcoin can't be a currency, why Bitcoin will fail, the rise and fall of Bitcoin, all through this. So this was back in 2010. And you have a look at where the market is now. It's gone from, how much was it there? 23 cents to an all-time high of 65,000. Overall, there's been 435 obituaries written in that time since 2010. And in fact, if we just do, so I've got an idea here. So we've had 435 in 2010, so that's 12 years. There's my calculator here. So 12 years, and it's 435 times 12. So there are, God, that's incredible. That's 217 obituary. No, that can't be right. Sorry, what am I doing here? 435 times over. Yeah, that's better. 36 times a year. So that's more than 2 a month. 2 bad news articles are written about Bitcoin at least twice a month, and the market still keeps growing. And it's not just Bitcoin either. Even if Bitcoin was to die, there are so many now projects in the crypto space that it probably would hurt it, but it certainly wouldn't slow things down. People aren't going to stop just because, Ethereum's aren't going to pull themselves off the market even if Bitcoin crashed tomorrow. Theta wouldn't, Digicorp wouldn't, all that sort of stuff. So it's just, I've read some of these articles and I've got to laugh because it's just crazy. Bitcoin is worthless. The bubble may pop soon. That was just before it had its massive rise up. So again, take everything that you read in the news with a grain of salt. It's not always doom and gloom, but I'll tell you this, it is the doom and gloom stories that get the clicks, and that's probably what's more important. So this was a really great website that I came across. You can actually go down, scroll down, it shows you to them by year. And it's interesting that in 2017, so we've just had quite a good bull run, but the biggest one before that was in 2017, and 124 news articles were written how bad Bitcoin was back then. You can actually go into, it's a great website, you can actually go into the articles and have a look at where it was written and who said it. So just something light to finish with today. Anyway, I hope your week has been great. I hope your trades end up being very positive and profitable. Look after yourself and look after each other, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care.